All right. All right. So the challenge has gone topsy-turvy, and I will explain more about that in just a moment. But um, first of all, it's been a while, but let's talk about day two of this challenge. So on day two, I watched Space Jam, the Looney Tunes NBA mashup that people have been clamoring for since the beginning of time. So this was an interesting watch. I have fond memories of watching this movie as a kid, but in recent years, I've heard people say that it's not quite as good as we remember. Well, I can tell you this, nostalgia goggles and all. I would say this movie is just about as good as I remember it, but for different reasons for the most part as I did from as a kid. Obviously, it's aimed at kids with the over-the-top Looney Tunes antics, and but what I was surprised to find as I watched it today was there's a totally different side to this movie that flew over my head as a child. The first element is Bill Murray. He maybe has 15 minutes of combined screen time in this movie, but his dry wit just really shines through, even through some writing that isn't really that great. He's a delight in this movie in a small role. But the second element is the whole subplot of the real NBA players playing themselves, sort of in an existential crisis. They're desperately searching for answers and sometimes very funny, but also a little bit dark scenes. If you don't remember the movie, the main plot centers around aliens that come to Earth, sap various NBA stars' abilities, and use them to try to defeat Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny, and the rest of the Looney Tunes squad in a basketball game to ensure their freedom from enslavement. And no, this isn't a fever dream that I had. This is a real movie. Not knowing why their abilities are gone, the subplot with the NBA players involves hospital visits, getting destroyed in pickup games against civilians, and extensive therapy as they wax philosophical about where everything went wrong. The jokes are actually pretty decent. The actors, the guys are actually pretty decent actors, and there's some pretty good deliveries and jokes in there. Overall, the movie is not great, groundbreaking cinema. I would not be arguing for it to be considered an all-time great or even a very good movie, but it is entertaining, and those bright spots shine through. Michael Jordan is not half bad as the lead actor either. I'd give him a step up over LeBron, but overall, I gave it a 2.5 over on Letterboxd. Also, for each of the movies, for the most part, I'm going to try to make some sort of link to the movie that I watched the previous day. For this one, as I alluded in my previous video, it's pretty easy. It shares with the film Aliens, aliens of their own, albeit much less scary. Okay, so this is where I'm going to break formula a little bit with both the videos and the format of this challenge. I said that the goal was to watch a movie every night for 30 nights. Life and other things got in the way, and I need to change a few things slightly. For one, the challenge has now shifted to a goal of watching a total of 30 shifted to a goal of watching a total of 30 movies over the course of 30 days, meaning the time frame is the same, but I'm not holding myself to a movie a day. Sometimes I may need to watch 3 movies a day to accomplish that goal. It also means that I'm going to be removing the whole thing about watching the whole collection out the window. If I randomly selected a collection, I'm just going to watch the first movie in that collection and no more. Obviously, this is a self-imposed challenge, so I know I don't need to explain myself, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. I'm going to do a speed run review of the next few movies that I watched in this marathon, and then I'll start hopefully doing one video per movie from here on out. The next movie I watched was Predator, which is a 1987 sci-fi action movie directed by John McTiernan. People compare this movie to Alien, mainly because they did a mashup, Alien versus Predator, but this movie is a lot different than anything in the Aliens franchise. Predator is largely a war movie with an alien thrown on top of it. A cheesy war movie on top of that. There's a lot of bro camaraderie between the characters, especially the main ones played by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. And this movie is over the top. Not much subtlety at all. Lots of action, lots of bravado. It's an okay movie, but when you compare it to something like Alien or Aliens, the filmmaking isn't really pulling a whole lot of the weight. It's a cheesy action movie that once again just throws an alien on top, and I gave it a two stars on Letterboxd. The link I'm making between Space Jam and Predator, I could go the easy route and do Aliens again, but instead I'm going to say that both of these movies include real people with an obvious CGI characters to them. Alright, I'm going to go real speed run through the next two movies that I watched. The next one was The Village by M. Night Shyamalan. Again, as a kid, I watched this and loved it. I did not love it as much this time. However, I do think the twist, and if you're not aware of the twist, I'm not going to spoil it because I actually think it might be worth watching just for the fairly interesting twist, to be honest. The twist holds up for the most part, even if like maybe the motivations aren't fully there and stuff like that. The twist is interesting at the very least. Then I also watched the second Naked Gun movie, Naked Gun 2.5, The Smell of Fear. This movie is just a joke a minute. Tons of gags, tons of funny stuff that some stuff doesn't hold up, whether that be just not funny anymore or just flat out not appropriate anymore. But it is still a really good time. Really funny. Just pure funny. That's pretty much what it is. Doesn't really have too much of a message that it's trying to get across. Just really funny stuff by Leslie Nielsen and the gang. And yes, that includes O.J. Simpson. So that's my spiel for today. I have a lot of movies to watch, but that's what I've got for you. Thanks for anyone that's still watching these videos or that will watch these videos going forward. And I hope you have a good day. I will see you next time for Christmas Vacation, National Lampoons, that is. Have a nice day.